What's up everybody, and welcome to the channel. In today's video we're going to take a look at the 2024 Toyota Corolla Cross. This one is the XSE finished in acid blast, and the MSRP is about $36,000. Underneath the hood of the 2024 Toyota Corolla Cross, you're going to find the 2-liter inline 4-cylinder hybrid engine. It makes 196 horsepower, paired only to the continuous variable transmission, has an electric on-demand all-wheel drive system, runs on a 10.6 gallon fuel tank. You can also expect 45 miles per gallon in the city with 38 out on the highway. This crossover also weighs in around 3,300 pounds and can tow up to 1,500 pounds. Overall length is 176.1 inches with wheelbase at 103.9. Width is 71.9 inches with height at 64.9 and ground clearance is 8 inches. Now moving on to the exterior styling with the Corolla Cross, has a pretty cool look, especially in the two-tone with the acid blast as well as the jet black accents. This features a set of LED headlights. See a nice dark housing. They are the adaptive headlights as well. And then towards the center you got a cool vent up on top with a smoked design for the Toyota logo. You can see all the black surrounding the grille, and then a pretty massive grille. However, only the small upper and lower portion are actually the openings. But this is going to give you all sorts of cooling for the hybrid system as well as the engine. Got some plastic black trim in the lower side, and then you can see one of your LED fog lights. We have forward parking sensors, and a nice look overall. It's got a pretty modern appearance, nice sharp lines throughout the hood. And then as you make our way to the side profile, we have a set of 18-inch wheels finished in a two-tone design, really nice split spoke, and then more of that plastic black material for these fender flares. You have a sharp body line throughout the side, and I really like the one that comes from the hood. Has a really nice shape to it. Overall side profile is pretty proportional. It's a little bit smaller than a RAV4, a little bit more rounded as well, and definitely has a modern appearance. We have body color for the door handles, that jet black on the mirror caps with the turn signal, and then some chrome trim surrounding all the windows with your two-tone roof. You can see a sunroof up on top, all of the roof rails and shark fin antenna, and then a similar body line for the rear fender. One sharp line through the side doors. All-wheel drive logo is blacked out, and you're going to see the side skirt finished off in more of the plastic, and then that makes it to the rear taillights. It even says Corolla Cross inside. Nice red design with a little bit of a smoked out color, and then all your logos blacked out, same with Toyota. And then up on top you have an integrated spoiler finished in the black. And in back, some nice smooth body lines. Pretty simple back here. I wouldn't say it's as sporty looking in back as it is in front, but then you're going to have more of the plastic material, all of your parking sensors, a little bit more of the gloss black trim, and overall it comes together well. It's got a good proportion, good sporty style, and some nice lines all throughout. Moving to the key fob now, you get lock, unlock, along with the power liftgate. Go ahead and lock the car. You can keep the key in your pocket, of course, just by grabbing the door handle. It'll unlock. We can take a look at the interior. This gets the black Softex interior. Door panels finished off in black. You're going to see some faux stitching on the top portion, just a little bit of padding on this vinyl area. Window controls, mirror controls, lock and unlock, and a nice size grab handle. You're also going to see some storage down below. Moving to the interior, we have the seats with all of your power controls for the driver, and then the black Softex material. It's a synthetic leather, pretty durable over time, has somewhat of a fabric material back here, with the nice gray stripes, adds a little bit of a sporty touch. Nice bolsters to it, nice smooth headrest, and then a black leather steering wheel with a 3-spoke design and silver trim. And then now inside the Corolla Cross, keeping my foot on the brake, we can go ahead and turn it on. Depending on the temperature and circumstance, the engine may or may not turn on under the first initial startup. However, looking at the gauge cluster, you do have a square-shaped LCD screen right in the center. You can see temperature on the left. The engine actually just fired up, gas over on the right, and then a nice display in the center with your power and eco along with charge. Now there are drive modes in it. Right in the center we have our EV mode along with the actual drive modes itself. So if I toggle this, you can see it going to that depending on how the vehicle is feeling. And then scrolling this up and down, you can see your sport, normal, as well as eco. Along the steering wheel now, you can see the Toyota badge. We have controls on this left side. If you toggle any of these, you can scroll left and right and see a few things that pop up in the center screen. So you can see our eco score, you can continue over, you can go down, see adaptive cruise control, more audio settings like that, continuing down to see trip information, settings, all the safety information in this vehicle, and then continue down to any messages in the car. So nice to see all of that. Over on the right side, you're going to see all the cruise control settings with lane keeping, as well as distance pacing. There are a set of steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, so there's going to be an electronically programmed gear set within the CVT transmission. Stalk on the right side for windshield wipers, and then turn signal and headlights over on the left. To the left of the steering wheel, you can see your interior dimming along with the automatic high beams, and then more of that faux stitching, one of your air vents, just black along the dashboard, very simple in here. And then some silver trim on the right side with more of this vinyl material with the stitching material design. And then in the center, this is basically Toyota's infotainment screen, pretty typical if you're used to any Toyota. We have navigation, of course you'll have audio settings that will pop up, all the different settings, your phone integration if connected. We can view trip information, you have your energy flow for the hybrid system, pretty neat to see all that, vehicle alerts, and then of course settings throughout the car. So very simple, but it works very well. Now if we go ahead and pop it into reverse, you got a pretty good sized backup camera along with your guidelines. You can adjust the view just a little bit. Back into park. We have your controls down below for all the climate. We have fan speed right in the center, your different zones, dual zone temperature that you can sync. You can see defrosters, volumes up here. And then down below that, we have our heated seats along with a USB port, wireless phone charging, nice shifter design with an electronic park and brake and brake hold. 2 cup holders down below with some piano black and silver trim. And then our armrest back here. Opening that up, we have a pretty decent amount of space along with 2 plugs. Our glove box, pretty large size as you would expect. And then one last look at the interior. So pretty nice overall. It is very simple, not the most fancy interior. However, it gets the job done, pretty comfortable in here. Black headliner with a dome light back there. You have a manual sunshade for the sunroof, and then all the dome lights up in the center along with your mirror, and then a good size sun visor. Moving on to the rear seat space, grabbing the door handle and opening it up. Door panel itself is finished off very similar to the front. You do have a little bit of storage for this grab handle as well as a cup holder, and then in back the same Softex material with the nice gray striping design. This can seat 3 people back here, and you can pull this center seat downwards, and you're gonna get an armrest along with 2 cup holders. There are climate control vents down here, along with a little bit of storage space, and then you can grab this handle and pull these forward for extra space. All right, so hopping down the back seat of the Corolla Cross. So I'm 5'11" sitting here. Actually surprisingly pretty roomy. My head has like 3 inches of headroom. The ceiling actually dips upwards quite a lot, which really helps. With the driver's seat set at my height, my knees have maybe an inch, so it definitely is on the smaller side. However, the seats are at a good recline. There's no adjustments for that, but it's not too bad. You have big windows, and even this back window is pretty in view. Good armrest on the left and right side. So honestly, for an affordable, smaller, compact crossover, this thing seems pretty roomy, and you have the nice amenities as well. Dome lights, grab handles, as well as those hooks. So not bad back here. Moving on to the cargo area, you have the button on the key fob. There's also one underneath the Toyota logo. Just by pressing that, we're gonna pop open the power liftgate. This car does have the JBL audio system. You can see the sub back here, and there's a pretty good amount of storage space. There's a little bit of a cubby on the far left side, same with the right side as you can see, and we can even lift the floor up. We have some more hidden space all under here. And then this does have a privacy cover as well, which is a good touch to see, but it's also all removable if you want to get a little bit extra cargo space. Now from back here, you are able to reach these levers. So by doing that, we can easily fold down the seats, get a little bit more space out of the Corolla Cross. So again, for being on this smaller side, this car is really practical. If we go in through the side doors, these are gonna fold down really nice and flat. Seats, of course, are pulled up a little bit, so you might not have all too much space over here. However, this is pretty roomy. These will kind of fold down to cover it up. But for a small compact, this car is pretty practical. All right, setting off now in the Corolla Cross Hybrid in EV mode. If you slowly accelerate, about 20 miles an hour though, it will just kick in the engine. So the EV mode in this car is kind of good for parking lot situations, maybe just pulling out of your driveway or garage just to move the car 10 feet. So cool to have that. As far as the drive modes go, honestly, they don't seem to make a single bit of a difference. You have Eco, Sport, and Normal. It basically drives the exact same. This is not a sports car, so I would honestly just leave it in Eco mode, let it be an economy car. As far as normal driving, I am very impressed with how nice this feels. This doesn't just feel like a cheap little crossover. This drives really smooth, very quiet as well. The seats have good padding. I'm 5'11" sitting here. I feel a tad on the tall side for it. I wish I could get the steering wheel a little bit closer since I have to have the seat a little bit farther back for my legs to be comfortable. So if you're above 6 feet, this might be a little bit small of a car for you. But anything under that, I don't think you really have an issue. Good visibility all around, huge windshield. The little windows up there really help. Mirrors are all large, and over your right and left shoulder, pretty decent. The worst part is just the way far back above that side headrest, but honestly, it's an easy car to place. It's very small. So I like how it's pretty nice and normal. The steering is light. Again, no sports car, so there's some body roll if you're really going fast, which you're probably not going to be doing that in a car like this. But going 52, I mean, it's just smooth. The suspension is really nice. It rides very, very well. Flooring it, not bad from 50 to 60. Brakes do a great job, of course, with that regeneration a little bit. Definitely sounds like a CVT. You can hear it just kind of whine as you floor it. But under normal driving, I like how slow speeds, you're gonna feel that electric motor. And of course, with this diagram, if I slow down a little bit, you can see charging going back to the battery, slowly accelerating, you can see that battery and motor giving it some juice, and of course the engine kicking in. But you can feel that little bit of torque when you first initially get up and move. So like 0 to 20 about, you get a nice little kick. So for being, under 200 horsepower and not a sports car, I like how it at least does have that little extra pep to get you up and going. You're still gonna get up to speed nicely. Interior refinements, not the greatest. It is a lot of just plastic, just molded foam material. It does have a little bit of a squish to it, but the steering wheel looks nice, feels really nice. Ergonomics are good with your armrests. So it is a nice place to be overall, just on the more economy car side. Now this XSE Hybrid is the fully loaded vehicle. This is $36,000, a little bit more than that. And that's about as expensive as this car can get. I feel like that's a pretty good valuation. It's not, over 40, which I think would be a little bit much. There's other crossovers that are this size that are over 40,000 that might even just have a 3-cylinder. So the fact that this has a Toyota reliable 4-cylinder hybrid, I think says a lot. Hitting those train tracks, once again, this thing feels solid. It just feels like a very well-built car, which from Toyota, you would expect them to make a quality product, and it feels like that. Keep in mind, the base price of a basic Corolla Cross is about 26 grand. So these are not expensive to get into, and I feel like initial impressions, you get quite a lot for the money, especially given the all-wheel drive and hybrid on this particular spec. Seems like a pretty good value car. So turning around to my honest thoughts, slow speed, once again, being the hybrid, you can feel the electronics working, and then the engine kicks in once you start getting up to speed. So as a hybrid, I feel like Toyota has so much experience building hybrids. I think they do a good job with how they make the integration. It's pretty seamless. You can hear the engine kick in, of course, but it just works very seamless, and it gives you a very economical car. This thing, I've been getting like 35 miles per gallon. I've only burned not even a half a tank, and I've driven it for like 5 days straight. Hitting those bumps, this thing is solid. But for also having only a 10-gallon tank, the fact that you could get over 400 miles on the range, especially if you're highway driving, or I guess city mileage is actually better. So realistically, you're gonna get really good gas mileage in this. And I don't know, not really much to complain about. The only thing you could complain about is, at the end of the day, I mean, it's more of an economy car. The materials and the design just isn't really anything all too impressive, I would say. This is nothing all too new. This is a brand new car, of course. It only came out recently, a year or so ago. Very, very simple in here, which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, I guess, depending on what your taste is. But I think they've integrated it well to where the screen does have the big screen in it for the gauge cluster. It gives you all the info you need. It's not really all too configurable, and I mean, it gives you what you need though. So can't really complain there too much. This screen, again, very simple, nothing too fancy, and then just the bit of the plastics. So overall, I think though for the price point, you can forgive a little bit of plastics on the interior, because when you drive it, it's nice. Like, it actually drives very nice. We've been in other small size, semi-affordable crossovers that are pushing 40 grand. And then it starts feeling like you can get a nice used luxury car for that kind of money. So the fact that you can get this in the 30s, way below the industry average of a brand new car, seems pretty well valuable. As far as the driving experience, I wouldn't say you're going to be, blowing your socks off or anything. It's a normal crossover to drive. There's nothing about the driving experience that is above and beyond or amazing. It's just a nice, normal, comfortable car. The things that'll stand out is the fact that it does feel very solid. The suspension is very smooth, good ergonomics, comfortable seating position as long as you're not too much taller than 6 feet tall. But it's an easy car to drive. We drove this down to the city for a couple days and back and just around town. It's a smaller vehicle to where it's easy to park, easy to pinpoint. You can get in and out of traffic. It's easy to park. Camera system, parking sensors all do a really good job. And the cruise control, the safety systems are good as well, especially for highway cruising. So it's a very well-rounded, smaller size crossover, and it doesn't feel too small. This is smaller than the RAV4, and yet it's roomy. You could fit 2 grown-ups in the back. You could fit your kids in the back. And the cargo area itself is plenty usable to go on maybe a family weekend trip or something like that. So I was a little confused when this car came out. The name of it, I don't really understand why they call this a Corolla. I mean, the Corolla is a very kind of a famous little car. The fact that they now have the same name on a crossover, I don't really understand the naming. But nonetheless, that's what Toyota chose. But as a crossover version of the Corolla, which again, there's not really anything similar between the two, it is a good little car. I kind of like it, honestly. And when you look at the pricing, you could spec one a little bit down than this or take off some options and be closer to $30,000, which in today's world, that's pretty darn cheap for a brand new, bulletproof, reliable car that gets fantastic gas mileage. So not bad if you're looking for a nice city crossover. I think the RAV4 is a little bit more rugged, a little bit more adventurous if you're looking for that style. However, this, with the ground clearance, you could still take this on some dirt trails in the mountains. So there's all my thoughts on the 2024 Toyota Corolla Cross, the XSE Hybrid all-wheel drive. I do like it for what it is. It's a good, affordable economy car that's nice enough and rides very smooth, especially for the price point and the efficiency. If you guys enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for plenty more content. We'll see you all in the next video.